Lemon, similarly, on their Ascent map, was definitely a high-impact player with that operator. So look indeed for an operator duel to come out. First, it is just an owl drone. Chrome throwing some pot shots off the back of it. Doesn't really connect. It's a bit of a 0 point to come in, and it, you know, suppresses a couple of players as they have to push back in order to allow for Blue Esports to get straight in there. Chrome quite low, but 5-on-5 still. The retake coming fast and quick. As Vel now up close by the door. Takes that first duel, throwing in the flash drive. Blinds himself. That's not how you do it. 12 seconds to another 0 point. Yeah, sure, might come in clutch here. Vel, oh, he gets swung by Vulcan, but he takes the frag anyway. And oh no, Fraggleton doesn't even need to see anyone. He just uses the bot in order to frag out. Vel with a third on the round just to follow up, and eventually Flu take the victory.
There we go, an opener to play off of. We see them trying to play into that momentum they got, trying to play into the second round as we see Fraggleton running that Bulldog. Everybody kind of doing something to some extent to really throw themselves into the whim. Look at Virginia and Drios. These guys literally going broke for this round alone. They are just absolutely going into it. And the way they really just kind of steamrolled that essentially in that first round, all utility being brought out, everything being really put onto the field. This next round, I feel like it's just going to be almost not essentially a waste of money, but it's definitely going to be something to play with if they go ahead and have to force everything out.
Well, we'll see. 0 point once again, doing work. 2 agents suppressed. It's going to be that killjoy, but it doesn't matter. Tot still takes Vel out on the swing.
Down mid.
But ultimately a 2 for 3. Vanquish not coming out victorious in that one. Fraggleton on a bit of a back foot, but Dots once again connect successfully. And Fraggleton is the victim of that one. Virginia around the back, leaving just one player alive. Chrome connects the shots. And Flu have their second, though at some significant cost.
You know what it is, man. Flu, it's another step up from a cold, and these guys are giving some pretty icy shots here. They're kind of cold in the blood right now. They're feeling frosty. They're feeling themselves once again after that last game, after that last map, and they're getting themselves back into this. And I know once it comes around to this defense, being Flu's on the attack right now, we don't exactly see it yet, but we do see Axie with the same exact idea. Running that Odin over there on the B site, gonna find himself at least some kind of wall bang if he can. But it looks like this A shove is what's coming through from these guys, and with Chrome being at the front end of it, I like to see what can be pulled out here with this Blaze Storm now coming into the mix.
Full commitment is indeed the shove, as you talked about. 0 point comes out, only suppresses 1, and Chrome goes down immediately. Vel gets 1. That's going to be shut down quickly and easily. Vel another, though, on the follow-up. So it's still even across the board, but nobody really in position off the back of it. So Flu, they take engagements, but they aren't engagements that give them further positioning onto the site. And so now, if you look at Vanquish, they're running away. They are like, well, if they're not going A, I guess they're going B.
And that they are, and it's slow rotation at that. Going through the middle of the map, it's a little bit risky of a move. I like the move to get the control, but almost, I say, juke him out at this point. You know, you sat there, you have that advantage. You know that Killjoy's out. You don't have that free intel, and it has to come from just manually having your eyes on somebody. And with that gate being closed, they have to go for a flank. And as we see Drea set up here in the back, it's going to be a really sticky predicament.
30 seconds
especially
left.
They're going to have to get loud to break this door, and it's got to be quick if they want to find something.
Loud is the way that it goes. Sonar out. Axie's ready. Nothing to swing with yet. And Axie elects not to hold on to that.
One enemy remaining.
The push coming through. That 0 point doesn't connect. It's Lemon with the double kill, triple on the round. And Dots connects onto the opposing KO quite easily to give Vanquish their first in what was a bit of a sloppy look retake, but it works out well.
Yeah, I mean, it was fast, though. That was the one thing that really flew off. I mean, these guys, that was such a tongue twister right there, but the way everything panned out for them, we haven't seen them being too aggressive, especially when they're down in numbers or at least even in this kind of clutch situations when the pressure's on. And seeing that shift of change, of that shift of personality from these guys, from this whole team, that alone is really what's gotten to this point, and them playing off of that and gotten in that first round. I think we're going to see that a little bit more out of them going forward.
Spike once again over here towards A. Doesn't really mean all that much, but well, oh my goodness, Axie off the back of a nicely placed shot or sonar arrow. Almost said shock dart. It's not what that is. He's gonna find that frag through the wall. Nearly finds a second onto Fraggleton. That would have been frustrating for the Killjoy, but doesn't work out. Vanquish still in good position with a man advantage.
Definitely are. But once you come around on that attack side, you never know what can be brought into the mix here. And Blue, they definitely showed themselves as competent opponents. So it really just comes down to where the site wants to move, what kind of move Chrome pulls over here on this catwalk, and what exactly can be initiated from all angles on these guys, because they have to find something. And it looks like with the smoke in the way, they can't exactly see enough to really pull into it.
Looking like it might be a bit of an A fake into a B hit, but it looks like it's turned into a full-on A take. This tap takes out Virginia, takes out Fraggleton on the push. Two more to find, and he actually gets a third before falling to Chrome, who's also on a triple. Needs the ace in order to clutch this out for his team, and that's going to be a tough ask.
I mean, that's just a win-win right there. That's a double incentive. Not win the round, but also get yourself all 5. I mean, that's huge. Ooh. And the way he's playing this out, so methodical, giving himself a little bit of aggression. He can do it.
He's got that first. Quad now on the round. Trades out. Uses the old fake flash. Doesn't quite connect though. Oh, he had to hit the headshot there to Chrome with the low HP. And Axie starts the round and ends the round. The big plays coming through from the Sova of Vanquish.
Huge right there, giving themselves that tie game, giving themselves a little bit more to play with on the econ, and forcing Flu to really kind of decide where to go in terms of this money and the big scheme of things, because they're not exactly sitting too healthy compared to the likes of Vanquish. These guys have won the last 2 in a row, so they have a little more to play with after shutting down these guys and shutting down their guns and their rifles 2 times in a row. So that's a little bit concerning for the likes of Flu, but it's definitely not enough to shut them down completely, because they're resilient in that manner, and they definitely have a lot to bring to the table. And it looks like they're going to be taking all that towards mid and the A side, leaving the Spike over there towards B. So now that they have a move, have an idea of what's going on, they're going to go ahead and execute.
Well, despite all this ridiculous aggression over here from Vanquish, somehow Chrome just still gets that orb. He's got the Blade Storm out in addition. Lemon as well. Is he going to expect a player close right? Oh, he does check it. Unfortunately, Fraggleton's caught sleeping a little bit as well, so that's just not good enough. As Vanquish now a man advantage. This push towards A is going to happen, but right now it's a bit passive.
Yes, indeed. I mean, you're down a man. You had that blame storm out, and you just have a little bit too much indecisiveness right now. You don't know where any of these guys are hiding. But Chrome, with the entry, finding something, it's going to be enough for Top to follow through and find an answer. And these guys just on Vanquish, they were just a little bit more prepared for that, from that push, getting that entry frag, shutting it down, and just continuing forward out with that. Good God. I mean, they are a force to be reckoned with. And Flu, that's another one on the board. That's, you know, a 2 to 3 ratio. It's not exactly scary by any means, but it's definitely something to consider going forward if you want to sit there and find yourself in this third map to get yourself in a winning predicament. And Chrome, I mean, look at this guy. He's trying so hard. I mean, 9 and 4 right now. He's trying to find those entries. He's trying to find everything. He just has to have that follow-up in Drios. He's kind of asleep at the wheel, but round 6 could be his move.
We see that same opening that Vanquish pulled off in their semifinal matchup. 0 point into Lemon with aggression. And the flash off the back of it. Chrome those ready and defeats that push. Hulkin does get a trade. That's over towards A. And everyone retreats afterwards for the defense. It's 4 on 4. Still 1 round advantage for Vanquish. And at the moment, looks like it's going to be an A split, but it's taking some time to make these rotations.
It is indeed, and I want to say that's usually a Vanquish kind of signature move there, to be a little bit slow for the transfer across the site, that rotation, but this time Flu's going to be doing it, and Vanquish, they know it all too well, because they've done it a time or two themselves, so that alone, being set up here on the back, trying to find those defaults, get yourself across the map, and get guys everywhere as you have 4, so you have 2 for each site. They're sitting pretty comfortably, and Flu's going to have to make a move, and they're going to have to win those gunfights, or at least get an even trade on one guy to go ahead and even out the odds.
Well, you can't do that on the Axie. One more player to come in, that's Dots, and Fraggleton takes him down. Axie's still here, though. And oh my goodness, Fraggleton takes out the pistol. Right click is good. 10 seconds on the clock.
10 seconds left.
Lockdowns from both sides, as well as the Cosmic Divide.
You should run.
There goes that lockdown from the attackers. There's that lockdown from the defenders. And the world is divided in addition. Swing there from Drios. Good for one, but not another. And, well, unfortunately, top is locked down for the time being. He should still have enough time for the defuse, though. After getting unlocked down. There we go.
Definitely enough. Enough for Vanquish to find themselves a 4. So all this, keep in mind, is unanswered. It's not just a back and forth. This is not a 2-2. This is, you know, 2 rounds off the rip. Vanquish found themselves those rifles, and they have been running with them ever since. So there has to be a shutdown coming down here. Lemon running the operator, it's another scary move, and I'm surprised that Chrome hasn't actually held out himself for one, because he's been absolutely performing today, utilizing it and absolutely just becoming a menace of society when he pulls it out. So maybe if they can find themselves around here, go ahead and grab that. This wouldn't just be a shift in momentum and arsenal, but it would also give themselves that confidence, having a man to rally around, being Chrome just is absolutely going off today.
Well, Hunter Fury off the back of the sonar, and Drios nails it. Lemon, though, returning the favor, frags out. Finds that kill in the mid connector. And actually, Lemon repositioning into market. Gets tagged heavily for down to 30 HP, but looks to want to reaggress. The shock darts hold him off for just a moment longer as Vanquish are down a player. Flu Esports, they pick up the plan.
Yep. Like it's slow and methodical, but also at the same time wanting to put a little bit of pressure onto the site. And we can see Flu having an advantage, having that spike down. They are feeling themselves, and Drios, he's trying to feel out a little bit of a flank here, hoping these guys aren't checking, but Lemon seems prepared for it.
Fragment buys some time. 0 point. Stops Lemon in his tracks for just a moment. But it's just enough time to wait Drios out. 2 players back on the site for Flu. Fraggleton with the nano swarm connects, and then an additional frag with the rifle, but Polkin is on that double and should get the defuse. It's a little bit close, but not too close for comfort. Recovering an operator just for good measure. As Vanquish take their 5th in a row.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Flu really not playing into their strengths right now. I mean, they're very good slayers. Across the board, they do a darn good job of sitting there making sure to get those kills, execute almost so fluently with what they do. They have an idea, they play into it, and they do it very well. But just Vanquish is playing more as a unit right now. They feel a little bit more unified. They're getting these rounds back to back to back, and they're absolutely feeling each other as a team, and they're really just rallying around each other. Meanwhile, Flu is missing that man right now, and they have to go ahead and find him, because Polkin's going to go ahead and shut him down as Chrome falls over there towards the A side.
Aggression here in mid for the Flu side, who are still down a player. Polkin's very low over here, so this might be a good timing. Not working out perfectly just yet, but oh, flash drive is not pulled out at the right time. Another double kill from Polkin despite the low HP. He swings, somehow still survives. Top with 2 on the flank. Flawless for Vanquish.
That's not good, Chief. I mean, we're coming up here at the end of the half. There could definitely be a shift in the game, but we have a lot of ultimates to go through before then. We got 3 on both sides. How they're utilized is really what kind of can define this, as we have 3 more rounds left in this half. So, I mean, they have to be allocated out well. Everybody's darn near theirs as we see Lemon kind of 3 off. We see Top off by 1. Drio's really the one slacking on that half. And it's just, there has to be an execution here. And Blue, I feel like they can definitely do it as long as they find that one little shove. And I think these ults coming through could definitely be it.
Stay down.
Oh, there's a great find from Lemon. Hunter's Fury could come out there from Vanquish, but it looks like it's not going to happen. No one gets detained. The re-aggression going to come in. The lockdown of their own for Vanquish, as is the Null Command, as is the Hunter's Fury. So pretty much everything you could hope for in this 5-on-4 retake. Cosmic Divide comes out. Hunter's Fury as well. Tag onto Virginia. Frag onto Virginia. Dots with 2. Coming in clutch here for Vanquish. As the Null Command gets used as well. A little bit of flash through, and Dots comes up big with a 3rd. Hulkin finds the final frag, and Vanquish finds the 7th round.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Blue, the guys, they're the most aggressive I've seen them all day. They've done such a great job with that. I'm trying to figure out where they've gone off to. And it looks like they're going to retreat back to their quarters right now, find themselves in a timeout, which is well needed right now. You've asked me all night, really what all these teams have done. And I feel like, you seeing Vanquish and seeing them being a dominant fashion, you have a better idea of what can really shut them down in this map. So I would like if you could break it down this time around to see what Blue can do to get back in the blue.
Well, they've been so one-dimensional. That's kind of the big problem. And when they when they find positions to play a bit more passively, like they're playing a default, they don't play tradable. They get taken down in these opening duels so often. We saw it in that last round where Vanquish got aggressive with an operator on Catwalk. There's no one at all anywhere else on the map but their B, and they just get shut down off the back of it. There's no Sova there. So no. I think that Blue need to be much more aware of these pushes, and they need to answer the call by playing more tradable positions and not getting caught out so often.
Well, you've heard it here. Trade better. That's the name of the game here. As we move ourselves into the 10th round, Flu, they got to get themselves out of a pretty heavy deficit here. And I think with the way they've been doing it, if they continue the same thing they've been doing thus far, not exactly going to work out too much. But that timeout alone could have really shifted everything to change the pace and maybe put themselves in the race.
Well, they're playing quite spread, and one weakness area for Vanquish has tended to be mid. Lemon's there this time, though, with the operator, and the timing on the drop, I think, on that Nebula was horrific for Flu. Either way, Lemon connects, despite getting tagged super heavily. Bladestorm still here for Flu. And the push is coming through. Lemon connects another shot, somehow gets away, and help is there. Lemon with the quick scope, has a triple kill, has a quad with the shorty. Flawless victory.
Oh no, man. You can't, this can't be happening right after a timeout. I mean, a timeout is that time of a little bit of resort. It's a little kind of island of its own, as a tiny oasis, albeit. To sit there and give you a chance to figure out what's going on, evaluate your mistakes, and capitalize on that and fix them. But once all those once you think you've tightened up all those bolts and you realize that you really just snapped them from over-tightening them, it's a disappointing feeling, albeit. And Flu's in that situation right now, and they have to really figure out what to do going forward. Because, I mean, they got defense coming up, and they're going to have all this aggression being brought to them on the other side of the map. And that's concerning with how Vanquish has been shoving it up their throats thus far with them being on defense.
I love the metaphor. It fits so well. And Flu, well, ain't nothing fitting right now. Like an oversized pair of boots, this map. Lemon is up close and personal, deadly with this shotgun we've seen before. Dots on the site, able to take one shot. Does take his shot, but misses its mark. Fraggleton able to get involved, and everyone for Flu finds a bit of an opening, leaving two players left alive. Now, granted, there is a lockdown for one of those, but scratch that. Top is taken off the map.
Looks like Flu here finding themselves in the first favorable situation here in a while. Maybe that just goes to show, you know, once you poke a bear enough times, you're eventually going to piss it off. So I think right here, Chrome grabbing that off, getting that finishing shot, finding himself that little animation of a finisher there is enough to really get his adrenaline going to find himself the next couple rounds, because that alone was just a cherry on top, something he really needed to give himself as some kind of statute to the team when going into these next couple rounds. And I'm super stoked for this, man. Look at this. We got 2 ops from both top frag jets. I want to see them line up both in mid, and it looks like Chrome isn't going to ego peek it. Lemon will be set up for it. It just comes down to whether or not Fraggleton and Vel over there are really willing enough to step into it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Take shot does the jet in mid, but it's not going to connect to anything. Not just yet, anyway. Opposing jet pushes up towards A, but again, not finding anything at all. No shots to speak of. The owl drone comes through. It clears out mid, and that's kind of what I was talking about general mid passivity from Vanquish, but they mix in enough aggression that you always got to be a bit careful, especially in market. Vulcan, gonna rotate over here towards B. This is strong B setup.
It is indeed. I mean, just regardless of the B setup, just in terms of manpower, look at A. I mean, look at how much green there is around there. All the utility allocated to it. Good freaking gracious, man. I mean, regardless of that, the way everything's kind of dishing out for these guys on this side of the field, Axie's really trying to find himself something desperately, but it looks like the rotation's going to come through, and if they're not prepared for this Killjoy, is just menacingly laughing over here towards that window. She can go ahead and get a chance to press all the buttons on the keyboard and just flood this side.
Yeah, so much utility, as you mentioned. A lot of that going down already. In fact, pretty much all of it. Alarm bot, nano swarms, everything else.
10 seconds left.
Plant gonna go down here for Flu, and Virginia, a 4th position over in Garden, and that's a key double kill that might just turn the tide of the round and put us to an 8-4 score. Lemon meeting a dark cover, gets hit by the 0 point, tries to find a 4th position with the recovered rifle, but again, Virginia meets the mark. Paranoia indeed misses as Axie and the KO look to get a 4th position. Dots throws out the 0 point. It doesn't connect. Flash drive is also a bit wide, and Chrome takes advantage. It's now with 3 kills in hand. Axie needs to clutch for the ace. He's got quad, but not the ace, because Vel is there. And at that point, the spike has been so ticked anyway, I don't think it was gonna matter all that much. So Flu, well, they finally get back on the board there at the final bit of the half.
Flu no longer feeling sick is really what I'm hearing here. I mean, finally finding a little bit of rounds here, you know, closing it out. A little too late, I will say. But they do have a second half now, and they have to really establish their kind of feel for the field on this other side. Because, I mean, they've been playing offense. They finally found themselves, you know, getting into those areas, finding themselves something, and realizing what could work for their favor. But I mean, this is where things kind of switch up for them. Right after they find it, they sit there and get a curveball thrown their way, saying, all right, you can't really play all that aggressive because now you're on defense, and you can't exactly do that. It's unorthodox. It doesn't really work all that much, but it looks like Chrome is going to defy all the odds and do it anyway.
Well, Chrome does do odds-defying tricks often, it feels, particularly on pistol rounds. As we are into the 2nd pistol of this map, 6th of this series. 0 point coming through. Gonna deny at least 3 players, so information being gained for sure. And well, it's hard to shoot when you're blinded.
Spike down, B.
Push comes back, dodge, tries, but fails to connect, and everyone else gets involved as well. Flu might be right back into this here.
I mean, yeah, getting that first round definitely is going to help them out. Because look at this force from these guys. Getting all these Spectres onto the field, finding themselves what could be a guaranteed second round. If they sumo, whatever it is, so do choose to do so. Because, I mean, Chrome, I'm actually shocked by the decision that he's going with right now. He's running that ghost, he's running the half shield. That's usually what I do when it comes around to the second round, but I think he has a little bit a better idea because he's obviously a much better fragger being here today. And I gotta see really what can come on as we see this huge encounter coming here on the A side.
Early 0 point coming in, does suppress a couple, but Virginia swings back around despite that suppression. Finds a connection. Blue Esports up 1. Early days once again. Now granted, this is an anti-eco, so it's pistols for Vanquish, but nonetheless, you like to see a good start for Flu. That's certainly not something we've been used to.
Yeah, most definitely. They've been kind of struggling this whole time. And waiting out for that smoke right there was a good play, and getting all that intel from that zero. Goodness gracious, dude. The lemon right here, maybe trying to go for something crazy, but the shorty is just not going to be the answer for this round against these Spectres.
I mean, especially not if they're able to keep their distance. It's just a tough find.
Spike down.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, Axie has found a double kill with the double right click. I mean, it's just such a disgusting... I mean, the fact that the right click is still in the game is crazy, but you know, here we are.
What, you mean to tell me you haven't sat there and pulled the trigger of a pistol before and it split into 3 little fragments?
No, only if you're on burst.
Okay. That's fair. A little B23R action right there from Black Ops 2. Shout out to that. Great gun for zombies, but
I mean,
apparently also enough to give yourself some kills here. On Ascent, if you're the likes of Flu, give yourselves a little bit more to play with. You know, it's a little bit of an answer, but not enough, because we see these guys making themselves a comeback and feeling pretty damn good here for this defensive side.
Blue Esports are certainly in a decent position. They need to probably win this round, though. I mean, even if they don't, they need to win the follow for sure. The push in through mid from Vanquish is successful. Chrome takes some damage through the wall. Blast drive comes across. Lemon gets involved. Top successful, and Lemon with a second. This is all coming up Vanquish right now, and this Fraggleton who's left alone, thinking, guys, hey guys, we were supposed to kill them, and now I'm all alone.
I mean, Fraggleton, he's done some crazy things today, so I'm not sleeping on him just yet. But with the way the spike's kind of set up for these guys, the way they're just camped up around it, you have way too many tiers, way too many enemies and levels to push through to even get to the end. And he finds one, but it's stopped there at the second.
Vanquish is just taking names right now, but it's not all over. Blue still have a chance here. They still got enough money.
They do. That they do. You know, because we are now on this, you know, 4th round. It's a little rough there in the 3rd, trying to manage together what you can, but I mean, they can do that at least. And Drio sit right here on this Odin half armor. I've seen it way too many times there on that defense, and I feel like everybody has the same clue when it comes around to that. So that's exactly why we're seeing an A push from the likes of Vanquish, trying not to run to that Odin over there on the other side of the field.
Here.
Well, I mean, we saw how effective the Odin was last half. So many times getting an opening pick for free, it felt like. Was that Odin on B? And well, speaking of free picks, there's another one. Lemon, who has a very forward position in the middle area, finds the connection, and Vanquish have done it once again. They come out with the big victories here. Lemon now on a triple kill. There's only one player left, and the spike just now getting planted, but it's flawless in fashion. The victory in double digits for Vanquish.
What an answer there, and a check mark to go up with it. I mean, finding that little double-digit area, as you said, and having all your players sitting on top of the same weapons, same armor they have from the last round, and having just look at those numbers, man. The only one that's really down bad right now would have to be Dot sitting with 2K, and even then that's not that bad. That's still more than really everybody on the side of Blue, so that's super concerning to really kind of put into perspective as you're trying to go ahead and get yourself a couple more rounds on the board. Now with Vanquish being, you know, too shy of match point, we have Flu once again in a really rough predicament, trying to claw themselves out of a tough situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a lot of faith in Flu. I have had and continued to have, but right now Vanquish are really just doing a good job of finding opening picks, then shutting down aggression, making sure that anything that looks like an advantage for Flu turns immediately into a disadvantage, and that's another example right there. Axie through the wall, through the attempt, is able to find a connection, and even then, Vel catches out top, but misses all his shots. That's just brutal.
Fraggleton! Oh,
that would have been a crazy spray transfer if it hit.
Revealing area.
it would have. I mean, I believed in him. I've seen crazy things out of the man today, so I wasn't sleeping by any means, but you know, it looks like as this game could come to a close, we could all be sleeping here soon because it's 11-6. The time, you know, we got 2 minutes right here on East Coast until the bell chimes, and you know, Cinderella's ball comes to an end. But maybe Flu could sit there and buy out a little bit more time to give themselves a little second win, if need be.
Well, we've seen
You should run.
the near impossible happen before against this team on this map, so you can't count it all out, certainly. Everyone getting out of dodge there for Flu. Chrome sticks around for long enough to find a limit on the entry. Nobody gets detained. And the Cosmic Divide is successful in allowing for Vanquish into the site. This time with no casualties, second time out. Virginia swings around the corner, connects with the shots, a bit sloppy, but he gets there. Dots, Fraggleton coming back in. Drios, the final kill. Flu Esports finally take a round of their own, and they stop the bleeding.
Thanks.
Yeah. Just because the bleeding stopped doesn't mean the wound isn't still there. So we still have ourselves 4 more rounds for him to catch up here. It's not nearly as, you know, tough as it was previously, but it's definitely enough because at this ratio, you know, finding that 3-1, I mean, you only got Vanquish that's 2 away right now. So, I mean, all brakes have to be ripped out right now. 6th gear has to come into play. And Chrome right there just forcing out the op and the half armor. I think he's fully prepared to go ahead and get this car kicking to the max RPM that it really can.
I hope so. Certainly would be ideal. Chrome is on short. Nobody going to be met there in the early stages, but he gets more aggressive and does take down the opposing Jet of Lemon, who gets caught out on catwalk. Axie follows up with the Owl Drone, but
Placing swamp grenade. Swamp grenade.
Owl Drone can't do much of anything, doesn't even really get much of any information.
Yeah, he really doesn't, but I mean, we may have a little bit here from the likes of Drios, but not getting that shock dart hit, not finding really anything off that, while the rest of these guys are kind of trying to make this follow-up or really just figure out where to move next, because we see them pushing on this B site. We know Drios is set up over there, but this isn't what Vanquish knows, and Flu's prepared for it as Virginia finds himself the first and Pulkin finds that trade, but the answer, we just got bloodbath going over here on the B site, y'all.
Dots continuing the bloodbath here, but Vanquish ain't out of this yet. I'm just sure he's still available, though. That could potentially deny a lockdown play. And there it is. Axie probably in a good position to do it. Flash drive comes out. Both players pushing onto the site. Lockdown gets destroyed. Recon bolt down as well.
It's
And
still on it, Chief.
Axie, the pros don't fake, dude. You gotta commit a bit earlier. Chrome takes the kill before even needing to bother Fraggleton, but you gotta get in there a bit faster, don't you, if you're Axie?
Yeah, and that's kind of really something that a lot of these teams have been struggling with. I mean, we saw it earlier from a couple of these other teams, and I feel like these defuses have really just been on point for these guys today. I mean, every single time that bomb's been committed to, it's been committed to, and it hasn't been a joke, it hasn't been a fake. It's been more like a knife cutting through a steak. I mean, it's just been absolute murder, and it's been really costing these guys a lot of rounds across the whole board, and that alone, Blue's buying into it. They have the mentality. Now they just have to find the frags over here on A site because it is free of all Killjoy utility.
Well, early fragment, early 0 point goes out. It finds nothing either way. So this could be a good way to catch out Flu. The Val does well, goes 1 for 1. Virginia doesn't really want to re-peek, get shut down out of the paranoia. So Virginia falls all the way back into heaven. Through the glass, 4 on 4. And this teleport could be good. Is he gonna get caught? Yes, he does.
4 on 4, man. This is it. This is hectic with Virginia over there on the back. Everybody really up on heaven, trying to play this defense with the bomb down. Blue's got to make a move here.
They do. They try. Fail for now. Top takes that out of their hands. Nicely done from Top. Actually gets a frag and a second with the Hunter's Fury.
Oh my God.
Fraggleton tried and failed to be the clutch master, but now it's match point.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, usually the rule applies to where it's you can't shoot what you can't see, but right there, Axie definitely proved us wrong. He's going off very well, and that was a huge use of the utility. I mean, finding himself that ult with the Hunter's Fury, getting that post plant. After being choked out here for a couple rounds, that's exactly what they needed to go ahead and put themselves in a situation where they can close this out. But Flu, they still have a breathing life left. They can still do something here. They just have to find 4 straight rounds first. So that's going to be one hell of an attempt from these guys. And I don't feel like it's impossible with them not really being too far on this economy.
Yeah, I mean, this is technically very winnable. Or I should say at least tieable. I mean, winnable would be overtime afterward, but Blade Storm here from Lemon. That certainly is going to make life tougher. As does the Hunt, or rather not Hunter's Fury. Cosmic Divide, excuse me. Lemon gets shut down. No blades. Not if you get hit with a 0 point. That's massive. But it's all a bit of a ruse. As the push is actually towards A, not towards B. And the Nebula comes down just in case. Top throwing out a Nano Swarm to deny the areas once again. Another 0 point coming out. This time, though, it's a fragment to try and deny the area underneath heaven. Top survives. Hunter's Fury coming through. It does do a bit of a tag. Low HP for 2. Chrome fells 2 of those players. Still low HP for Astra. Against 5 now. The shock darts come out, and that's not enough. Fraggleton and Bell both connect, and all 5 survive for Flu Esports.
Completely flawless, man. This is what you need for an answer. This is what you need to keep the game alive, and you got to continue the momentum. And the way this is going to pan out, it really just comes to these next couple buys. Flu obviously sitting really good with their money. And we see a couple of the guys over on the side of Vanquish not exactly sitting too comfortably, especially Lemon. That top frag they have, he doesn't have that full arsenal in his hands. All these guys looking like they're going to have to deal with half buys here as Dots is running that Ghost, Polkin's running that Sheriff, and Axie actually trying to force here, trying to be that little wild card, trying to be the one little tie game here, the one little breath of fresh air when really looking at how the economy is dishing out for their team. And Crow may be able to find something nutty here with this Blade Storm as he moves his way probably to mid to see if he can hunt himself down another piece of bread.
Speaking of mid, Vanquish have set up shop here. I just realized that Trios is having a horrific game. He's got 3 kills, but he's got 16 assists. I mean, that is certainly a Sova doing their job with regard to their arrows. Connections, not so much, though. Vanquish are in the lead once again. 5 on 3. Lockdown coming over the top just in case. A little bit more equity. That lockdown from the defense is taken out, but surviving from the attackers. There's a KO. It's suppressed multiple players. And oh, there's that lockdown doing
Attackers
wonders.
win.
Thrifty and victory for Vanquish. They take the series 2-1 in a 13-9 closeout here on Ascent.